standing up. David, over to you to respond.
Thank you. I'm not sure if response is what you're going to get, because when I was with this group yesterday, we said this is the first step. This is not a one-off event. This is the beginning of a journey, and one of the things we talked about was having a request from practitioners as well, was to have a practitioners improvement board to replicate what we're doing at the county basis. And then we have to think about how that might work and whether they have representation or they have influence on the improvement board. But I think that it's going to be good because we have a lot of people here who've done a lot of work this week and are committed to seeing things improve. So that's something that we want to bring forward. But this, again, is about challenging some of the behaviours we've had in the past and looking at how do we prioritise. Now, what I'm going to show on the screen in a moment are a number of challenges, and they're not challenges to Chris or to Martin and Lena. Some of them might be challenges to me. It's challenges to the whole organisation. It's about the whole organisation looking at things openly and honestly and coming back to some form of solution. Well, I do want to say thank you to all of the staff, not only those of you who have spent a lot of time in this room all week, and I'm sure you'll miss it when you leave, but it's also to thank all of the staff who worked from afar and those who weren't able to free themselves up for 5 days but came and contributed positively for 1 or 2 days where they could. So this has been a whole staff effort. Right, this is where I want us to think about what we do from here. Change is difficult. And this is a quote from John Cotter. At the core of the matter of organisational change is always about changing behaviour of people. We can change policies, we can change procedures, we can change where people sit, we can do all of those things. This is about changing people's behaviours. Some of that behaviour we've heard about, the lack of ability to communicate and to be heard, the responsiveness. We'll get Liz later to talk to you about the experience of getting a camera for this event.
Don't go there, David.
No, we'll do it quietly. Also, we know that in organisational change and change management there are high levels of failure. Technology, they reckon, is a 40 to 70% failure rate. Total quality management, which is part of what we're talking about, is 80 to 90%, and business process re-engineering is 60 to 80%. Now, this says it doesn't have to fail, you just have to keep working at it. So there's a need for theory and models, etc. Much change is badly led and managed. Unintended human and social consequence of inadequate change management. Now, that is, we have to think about those personal effects. There's something I picked up at work a number of years ago, and it says that in the event of changing organisations, 3 things run through every worker's mind. The first one is, what does this mean for me? The second one is, what does this mean for me? And the third is, what does this mean for me? And that is, will I have a job? What job will I have? Who will be managing me and where will I be sitting? These are important things, and we have to take those things into consideration. There's a danger of having fads and fashions, change strategies, and the need to sustain change. Sorry if I'm turning my back to you, it just hasn't come up on the screen. That's more about me than technology. Right, I only want to focus, there's different models for change, but I want to focus on just 2 of them, and it came out very well in the last presentation, is analyse the organisation and its need for change. We need to just not feel that we have to change because it's not working currently. We need to look at what needs to change and how we go and respond to that. Number 3 is the other one for me, and we've had a lot of that with Melanie St. Parker this week. We have to separate from the past. We can't keep going on saying we used to do it like this, or we used to be great here, or we used to be good here. We are where we are, and we need to get a lot better. And I think we have the knowledge and the enthusiasm to do that. So they're just other things, and we can look at this with different models, but essentially they're the key models. And we have fortunately lined up political support here in that we have our lead member and our defence leader, and we have other people in the cabinet who are keen and have been supportive over the last good while in terms of financial investment and in giving time to us as well in terms of being a priority now for the past. And to communicate, involve people and be honest. I think that was the underlying message that was coming from all of you folks today. Yeah? So, we also just need to look very quickly at the two different forms of change. One is developmental, which is the incremental, continuous improvement, piecemeal change and evolution. Really, this is where we're at. This is where we have to. We have to be transformative, radical, step changes, and revolution and evolution. When we've done that and stabilized it, we might be able to come back to this one. But at the moment, we have to be over here. We have to make those step changes, and we have to have a completely different approach. And there we go. So, like I say, these are challenges to all of us in the room. These are not challenges to other people who are not here, or to some of us in the room. It's about all of us communicating and being open with each other. Okay? Now we have 25 minutes before lunch is ready. So I think there are two things we can do. I'll come to that in a second. We can have another session of clarification and questions, which I think might be useful to draw out some of the points that you wanted to make earlier before I rudely interrupted. And secondly, it is also, there's a lot of material around the walls, and it might be useful for those of you who haven't been here during the week to go and look at things, and especially the things that people came into the room with on Monday, because they were the things that were often blocking them from making progress, and I think that would be useful. So, Linda first.